South Point is also proud to provide a variety of relaxing amenities for the guests who want to be pampered. Soak up the sun and let your stress melt away in our lagoon-style paradise swimming pool. A relaxing getaway where you can bask in the desert sun and enjoy seasonal food and bar service poolside. And if you really want to escape, come to Spa Costa del Sur. From couple suites to a co-ed wet area, our spa caters to business and leisure travelers who want to unwind and elevate their senses. A visit to one of our spa's steam, sauna, or whirlpool treatment rooms will leave any guest feeling like they can take on the world. Our gaming amenities include over 60 table games and over 2,600 of the most popular slot and video poker machines. We have penny slots, including the popular Buffalo games, and real machines like Wheel of Fortune, Triple Sevens, and Megabucks. If you prefer video poker, try Deuces Wild, Double Bonus, or a variety of multi-denomination games. Or try your hand at one of the most popular casino table games in the world, Blackjack. Don't let the game intimidate you. Blackjack, also known as 21, is both easy and fun. And our dealers are always happy to assist. And the best part? Blackjack always pays 3 to 2. Next, check out the roulette tables. Roulette is one of the easiest casino games to learn, and so much fun to play. It's a favorite of both beginners and seasoned players. In addition to blackjack and roulette, our casino pit features over 60 popular table games like Baccarat, Pai Gow Poker, 3-Card Poker, Ultimate Texas Hold'em, and Mississippi Stud. So get out of your room and come join in the fun.
Welcome in. It is Sports by the Book here on a Tuesday morning. I'm Jeff Parles. Alex White's here. Kenny White's here. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Got a lot to get to today. 24 total games in college basketball today. One of them's already underway in Kansas City. We'll give you an update on that in a second. But first, yesterday, a few more bids given out. Wofford, the 6th seed, they move along to the NCAA tournament. A little bit of carnage in that SoCon tournament. Top seed went out to Furman. Furman beat also the pre-tournament favorite Samford as well. But Wofford ends up being the one who gets the bid now, because I know you had that last night, pre-flop on the board yesterday.
I did have that one. That was a good play for me. The other two not so good. But yeah, good win for them. Really, I watched that game down to the end, and they were very confident with that win, holding their lead there in that one.
And then another bid given out last night in the Sun Belt. Really a tournament that, again, the 4-seed Arkansas State was the betting favorite going in. But as always, the Troy Trojans, the official team of Kenny White in all sports this year, maybe not football, but basketball and baseball, Troy gets the championship in the automatic bid as they really control the second half after what was a very fun, tight first half. Trojans win by 13 yesterday, Kenny.
Yeah, I had Arkansas State in the game. I was against Troy, and when I lost, Jeff, that was the first thing that came to my mind. Oh my, I've been on Troy for 2 weeks now and love their baseball team, but I thought it was a good spot for Arkansas State. I went back to look at the box score. Everything was even completely throughout the game except for Troy made 14 more free throws than the opponent, and that was the difference in the game.
And then tonight, we'll get into it. There will be 4 conference tournament championship games tonight, including just down the road from us, the seemingly annual Gonzaga St. Mary's WCC championship. By the way, this is the 28th consecutive year Gonzaga will play in the WCC final.
Wow.
28. That's crazy.
And you will be in attendance,
I
right?
will be there, yes.
Go Zags.
Yeah, Zags right now. Kenny already. We don't even need to get to the game, Kenny. We already know where Kenny's going to be on this one. Right now, that one looking at Gonzaga up to 3.5 now on that. Not surprising to see the money flowing in on the Zags, who never were in the covering number last night. San Francisco covers that game pretty easily, and we had St. Mary's last night. That was pretty rough. We're up 27 before the bench squad gets put in, and Pepperdine ends up covering the number, losing by 18 last night at Orleans. All right, let's get into things. Let's start in the Big 12. They're already underway in Kansas City. So the Bearcats and the Cowboys already underway. Bearcats the worst seed as the 13 in the Big 12. We're 6.5-point favorites, and they lead by 6 right now in that one in KC. Live betting odds right now, Cincinnati up to 10.5-point favorites live, leading by 8, actually, at the under 8 timeout in that one, Alex.
It looks like Cincinnati is the right side in that one, which we know they are the better team. But I mean, this is a team that had high expectations, right? And we're ranked at some point in the season. So I was kind of nervous to actually make that bet, not really knowing what their motivation would be. And I know when it comes to these tournaments, that's a lot of the equation is who's the more motivated team. So it looks like they're playing hard, and I do think they are by far the better team.
Cincinnati, of course, needing to win the Big 12 conference tournament in order to get an NCAA tournament bid. Same with Oklahoma State, but Oklahoma State, honestly, kind of an accomplishment that they're actually wearing the home-colored jerseys in round 1 was not expected out of them this year. All right, going to the rest of this bracket. Of course, this is the first go-around with 16 teams in the field in Kansas City. Houston was slight plus money on the odds to win the conference tournament. Those are obviously off the board now with the beginning of that Oklahoma State-Cincinnati game. And game 2 on the board today is the 9 versus the 16 seed. Colorado actually beat these Horned Frogs on Saturday in Boulder. And Kenny, so far the action has been on the Frogs. Open 1.5-point favorites in this game, up to 3. Total has been stagnant after a slight move to the under at the beginning. Now back to 134 on this game now with TCU 3 in KC against Colorado.
I like the way Colorado's been playing. You know, they started the conference season 0-10 or 0-14. 0-14 to start the conference.
Is that good, Kenny?
They actually went 3-4 the last 7 games. They showed improvement. They've showed life, and this was a really good team last year. Tad Boyle had a great team. He's a really good coach. Jamie Dixon's a good coach too, but I think Dixon may be past his time. I really do. His team was 11-18 ATS this year. I think these are 2 pretty evenly matched teams, and just playing their last game against each other is so much familiarity. I'd rather take the team who I think's playing better, and that's Colorado right now. So I took the Buffs. I bet them. I took +2.
I'm with you. Of all the dogs from this Big 12 first round here, Colorado is definitely my favorite. And now that number has gotten even higher at 3. It's really going to come down to turnovers, though. They have the highest turnover percentage of the 8 teams playing today. So makes me a little bit nervous. Even in that win over TCU to close out the regular season, they had 14 in that one. So if they can take care of the ball, though, I think they'll be okay. TCU, not a very good 3-point shooting team, just average at 2-point, and they have an average offense. So I'm going to take Colorado. And they don't have a road win yet. They did win on a neutral site, but I think that'll be good motivation for them as well. I'm going to do a pizza money bet, though, and just take them to win because I'm kind of tired of my dogs losing.
Yeah, I don't know.
Covering at the end. I'd rather just take them to win outright.
I don't know what to do with this game because obviously Colorado just pants TCU over the weekend.
Yeah, 20-point win. That was the only thing that had me kind of worried about it, but I feel like, you know, it was funny. I was listening to an NFL guy talking once, and it was about the Super Bowl, and he said, "Listen, if 2 guys go behind the barn and fight, the guy that won, that if they go back behind the barn again tomorrow, the guy that won the fight the first time is probably going to win the fight the second time and the third time." So I kind of feel like that's the case in this situation. The way these 2 teams are playing, they're going in opposite directions, and I just don't see Colorado, you know, letting up here. I think they come with the same game they just played. We'll see.
See how it plays out. I'm staying away from this game. I need to see how TCU looks more so than anything. Again, there have been plenty of opportunities in-game-wise in these conference tournaments. It feels like more so even in the regular season, so we'll see how it all plays out in Game 2 in KC. Game 3 in Kansas City. Kansas State takes on Arizona State. This is the 10-15 matchup. as it's been recently for K-State. Check an injury report before you're making a bet on this game. Cats, 6, with a total of 143.5 in this one, Alex.
And Coleman Hawkins did come back and play the last 2 regular season games. Was not very effective in those games, but I do think he will be playing in this one for K-State. I do like that side. I think they're the better team, clearly as a 6-point favorite here. That is a little rich for me to lay, though. But they split in the regular season. Arizona State is awful on the board, so I think that is where Kansas State can really capitalize. But Arizona State is a good 3-point shooting team, so if those are going in, it'll be tough. K-State, better defense, though. So I'd rather be on the better defense here. If I were to play it, I'd be with K-State. Yeah,
I'm betting K-State, and I'm, I'll say this. I really don't care how these teams finish the regular season because this is new. They're all 0-0 right now. They have life. They have opportunity that they didn't have. Arizona State finished 1-10 their last 11. Jeff, that doesn't sound good.
Nope.
The only win was against Kansas State.
Oh, makes it even worse for this spot, right?
That's the only win they had. K-State finished strong. They went 8-5 down the stretch, but I feel like that was at Kansas State, little revenge factor. And you have to give them some home court advantage because it's only about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours from Manhattan to Kansas City. But there's going to be a lot of alumni that live in Kansas City. So they're going to have their fans. It will be purple. And I think that they're the better basketball team. So I did lay it with Kansas State.
Staying away. Again, even though this is, also too, this is in Kansas City, I would imagine not many people from Arizona State made the trip to this as well. Seven total?
That's what, yeah.
7 total?
I got a call this morning.
Seven total.
Southwest Airlines to Kansas City. Only 7 people were on the flight.
And there you go. Phoenix to the new Kansas City airport as well. But hey, man, the Kansas State I haven't trusted all year. You get the effort you got in Ames where they beat the heck out of Iowa State, or you could get a lot of the other efforts this year where they've looked like a team completely disinterested. So
the loss at home to Arizona State's one of those.
That would be one of them for sure. You got plenty of choices on that one though. So staying off of that. Final game in the Big 12 tonight. Utah takes on Central Florida. I actually kind of like the dog in this game. I know Central Florida has been a little bit of a disappointment. They got that huge win at Lubbock at the beginning of conference play. It's like, all right, well, maybe Johnny Dawkins has got his team a little bit better than we thought. Johnny Dawkins is probably going to be on his way out the door as soon as Central Florida is eliminated from this conference tournament. The only matchup between these teams earlier in the year was in Orlando, and Central Florida did win by 4. But getting 2 plus 115, I would just take the dog outright, Alex. I'm kind of with you. Just take the plus money because it feels like these dogs are either winning outright or just not covering unless if they're big dogs in this spot.
And we did talk about that yesterday and the percentage of that actually happening, and we've seen it happen a lot. And another thing that I'll go back and actually record, but it feels like if you're going to take overs, take it in the first round. So I am going to bet this game over 157 here. I think there's still some 156.5s out there, but both of these teams are going to rely on their strengths, and both of them are offensively better than they are defensively. They're the 2 best offenses of the 8 teams playing today, and UCF is the worst defense. Utah, very, very good from field goal shooting there. So I like the over here. The pace will definitely be there. We know Central Florida definitely wants to run.
Yeah, I like it over too. The pace will be there. Both teams playing up tempo, and we're going to talk more about pace going down because I've got a list of the top 11 teams who are playing more than a second slower on offense since the beginning of January, and a list of 6 teams who are playing a little faster, but those teams playing faster, not one of them is a national named team. So you'll be surprised at that list. It's 6 nobodies who are playing faster, but in very, very good information I have for you a little bit later. I'm going to wait till the game that both teams are playing much slower, but I like this one. They're both still playing up tempo, and they're both really good offensive basketball teams. So I think it goes over the total. I went over 156 last night.
157 now on that total for UCF and Utah. Again, Houston was the betting favorite going into this tournament. No shock there. I actually think their path to get to the finals is really nicely put for them. Don't like BYU against them. Don't like Iowa State against them. They should handle whoever wins the 8-9 or 8-16 game. Much more difficult path for Texas Tech and Arizona to make the final. So Houston, the rightful favorite, about plus 105 is the best number I saw going into this tournament. Those numbers off the board now because, of course, the tournament already underway. Let's go to Charlotte next in the ACC tournament. Ooh, fancy stuff there, Ryan. 3 games here today in the ACC, and we begin with a look at the tournament odds first because Kenny, Alex came in and gave me a little teaser for what you may like in this tournament. The Duke Blue Devils were the number 1 seed and clearly the best team in the league, even though they only ended up winning the regular season title by 1 game. Clemson and Louisville both ended up at 18-2. Duke was 19-1. Duke, the best number in the market, Kenny, is minus 375 on the Duke Blue Devils to win this conference tournament. Clemson and Louisville are both plus 650. North, this is just so ridiculous, just showing what this league is this year. Carolina is 30-1, and everybody else is 70-1 or longer. And quite frankly, I wouldn't even look past North Carolina if you want to take any shot on the board here. But Kenny, you think minus 375 is a fair price? Even in a conference tournament where motivation can be all over the place for a team that's well on their way to being a 1 seed in the East?
This one, I would say no rollover here. Just lay it. Just lay the 375. I actually parlayed it yesterday. I made a parlay with the Gonzaga to win the West Coast Conference, 2 Duke, minus $4, and it came out to, I think, plus $1.20.
Okay.
So I need both those to win their conference tournament, but I as I was talking yesterday, Duke's going to be a 20-point favorite their first 2 games and a 10-point favorite in game 3. They're the number 1 team in the country, and they're 13 points better than anybody else in this conference. And they're playing in Charlotte, North Carolina, where they're going to have a ton of fans. So, that's 2 conference bets that I've made so far.
Alex, I was talking to you about this before the show. I was just looking for any argument that for non-Duke. Is there an argument for Louisville, an argument for Clemson, argument for North Carolina, argument for SMU? Couldn't find one because I thought North Carolina was leading the game with 10 minutes to go against Duke and didn't even cover most numbers on Saturday with the game at the Dean Dome. Clemson, tough for them to beat Duke twice, especially on the neutral, and I think Louisville is a dreadful matchup. So, yeah, if you can find, I'm kind of with what Kenny just said. If you can find a book that will let you parlay, which there are plenty of options, and finding a shorter favorite in one of these other leagues, I don't mind doing that with Duke as just a juice filler to get that other team up to a plus price more so than anything.
Well, I didn't come up with the idea. A friend of mine, Ken Murphy, he said, I love those 2. Let's play it. Let's parlay it, and we did. So
it's the Ken parlay. There,
right? It's the Ken. Yep.
So the games today, let's start with Pitt and Notre Dame. Pitt, with just a quick note from our friend Colin Wilson, who does a great job over at Action Network, usually a big college football guy, but gets into college hoops all year long. Pitt has the most first-half unders this year in D1, 21 of them. And they are playing the early game here today against Notre Dame. The market knows this. Market banged that first half under from 64.5 to 63.5 already. Total 136 for the game. Pitt, the worst seed, is a 4.5-point favorite for the game against Notre Dame here, Alex.
Really nothing for me in this game. I think that number is just right, but I would not want to lay it here with Pitt and how they have played down the stretch. I really don't trust them. If anything, I would look to Notre Dame, who fought for this spot and to have a better seed over Pittsburgh. And they did win the last time these 2 played each other, 76-72. And I think they're playing better basketball. So nothing for me. This was a complete pass.
Yeah, I played it under. So I agree with the first half under. I didn't bet that, though, but I like that angle. I didn't know that Pittsburgh was such a good under team in the first half. And Jeff Capel, his team's played good defense all year. Notre Dame's the slowdown team, too. Pittsburgh's the under team. Notre Dame plays very slow. So love the game under, and I may go back in. Even if I can find a 64, I'll take a 64, under 64 in the first half.
I would play only the first half under, especially if it comes back up. I'm not sure if we'll see it come back up over the next 42 minutes and change before this gets going in Charlotte. Kind of gone out. This was 3.5 on the overnights. Now at 4.5. I would only take the dog at the points. But again, there's a reason these teams are playing in the 12-13 game in the ACC.
Coaching advantage for the Fighting Irish?
Slight at most. I kind of like Capel. Yep. I like Capel. Shrewsbury's awesome. And at some point, Notre Dame will get going again. It just they've had such an uphill climb because as much as I loved Mike Bray, Shrewsbury did not inherit Notre Dame in a great spot when Bray stepped away a few years ago. Virginia Tech and Cal up next. Another one where the lower seed is favored, and I think this is 100% correct that Cal is the favorite in this game. We kind of talked about Cal last week where they're a little bit better than their record has showed, playing better ball as the year's gone along. Up to 4 here. Some books just took a pop to go back to 3.5. 140.5 the total. I'd only look to play Cal with a money line. Find a partner, go with that. Don't love the idea of laying more than a bucket possession with Cal, but they are the better basketball team in this game, despite seeing the 15 next to their name, Alex.
I completely agree. And give them the revenge because they did lose at home to Virginia Tech. So add 2.5, about a 5-point favorite here. So I like your money line way of playing this game. And Virginia Tech, very high turnover percentage, not a lot of fast break points. And I think Cal can actually capitalize on those turnovers. And they do like fast break offense there. So yeah, I would like the Bears in this one at the money line price.
I did bet the money line last night. I laid $1.40 on California.
Good number.
To win the game. Got it early because I like the revenge factor. This morning, though, I thought about, hey, it's in Charlotte. Who's close? And how far is Blacksburg? I was really amazed. I didn't remember. Only 2.5 hours away. So I got to believe that they may have some fans. I didn't give any home court, but that kind of scares me a little bit. I did play the game under. This is one of my bigger differences of any total that I have going today. Both teams play slow. I don't really see great defensive numbers from both teams, but for some reason on the road, both these teams have been going under. And Cal is 9-3 under when they're away from home, and Virginia Tech 6-3 under when they're away from home.
This is, again, teams that are combined 26-36 in these two games here today, in this game here today. So, again, not high quality, at least early in the ACC. Syracuse and Florida State. Whenever Florida State loses in this tournament, that'll be the end of Leonard Hamilton's coaching career. Knowles are 4. There's a bunch of 3.5 in the market, 150 the total. I don't know what the heck to do with this game. I think this is a good old-fashioned pass for me in this one, Alex.
I would lean to Syracuse here, even though it's kind of an offense versus defense here. Syracuse much better offensively, and then Florida State better on the defensive side, even though they do play at a fast pace there. But Florida State won at home. Can't really give Syracuse that revenge factor, but did win 90-74. So nothing for me but lean to the dog here with the orange.
Yeah, sometimes you make a bet and then you hear information and you think about something else and you don't like it. I bet Syracuse. I took 3.5, but knowing it's Leonard Hamilton's last season, you always get these type of teams that step up. Even Long Beach last year, after Dan Munson got fired and wasn't even allowed to coach his team stepped up and won the conference. You see these teams play for their coaches. It's been such a bad year. And again, I throw out the records. It doesn't really mean anything. So I don't know. I may get off this bet, just that fact that Florida State may give a effort here in this one.
Moving along to the next conference, which will be the WAC, which gets going today in St. George, Utah. New Orleans is not available. There's still games going, obviously the WCC title game. So Southern Utah and Utah Tech will play today on the campus of Utah Tech, despite Southern Utah being the better seed. Yes, figure you could get fully geography on that one. St. George closer than Cedar City. Easier drive for the winner to probably get destroyed by Utah Valley tomorrow, but that's a different discussion for tomorrow. Utah Tech is a 5-point road favorite at home here in this one. 144.5 on this, Alex.
I'll let you take this one because I know that you do have an angle that you like.
Yeah, well, Jeff just mentioned it. They're listed as the road team on top, but they're playing in their home arena. And books that put this up yesterday did not know that. They did not think that. They put it up 1. And I didn't lay the 1. I didn't see it. I was too busy all day. But when I got to the game at nighttime, there's revenge factor. Utah State lost both games. And even though they're at home, I'm building that in. I like Utah Tech. I played them. I laid 3.5 last night. I split my bet up, though. I laid 3.5 for half my bet, and I laid the money line. I think it was $1.65 on the money line at that point. So I saw 6s this morning. I felt pretty good about that. I think that's about the right number. These two don't like each other, and this was Southern Utah did win both games. These are just two bad teams. I don't think bad teams can close it out. So I'll probably end up hoping that Utah Tech will have the lead, a pretty good lead, and go in game and take Southern Utah and try to middle this.
Going to have an opportunity, probably more likely than not. Again, there are two bottom teams in this league. If you're looking at WAC tournament odds, Utah Valley is the number 1 seed in this tournament, but they are not the betting favorites. Grand Canyon, of course, who was in the tournament a year ago, won a game in the NCAA tournament, is a plus 140 favorite. Utah Valley at plus 195, and then Seattle U, the 5 seed, at plus 575 is the third favorite, and then 3C Cal Baptist at plus 725. I think it's Chalk City here in this one. It's either Grand Canyon or Utah Valley, whichever one fits your fancy, I think is where the direction you would go. I think Grand Canyon's a little bit better. I actually think their draw to make the finals is also easier as well. The potential matchup against Seattle is not an easy game for Utah Valley. So we'll look to the Antelopes of Grand Canyon here, Alex, to win this conference tournament.
I agree. It's really those three and then the rest of the league. Grand Canyon 3 points better than Utah Valley, and then them just 1 point better than Seattle. So you kind of said it perfectly. Those two meeting up kind of makes it a little bit easier there for Grand Canyon. So that is the way I would look.
Yeah, I have Grand Canyon, the top team in the division or the conference, and I like Bryce Drew a lot. The Drew families have been a great coaching family. These were great. They were great players. Their dad was an outstanding coach at Valparaiso, and they're a basketball family. They do it right. And the Grand Canyon, I think, once again gets back to the NCAA tournament. Once you've won, it's a little easier to get there the next time. If you haven't been there, it's awfully tough to do. I think it's a little bit more pressure. You just don't know how to win it, and Grand Canyon knows how to win it now.
I 100% agree, and they have the best player in the league as well with Foster. So just we'll see how it plays out. A good tournament at the Orleans. Again, first game tonight on the campus of Utah Tech, and then the scene shifts for everybody down here just due 15 South.
How do you think they travel, the fans? It's only 3.5, 4 hours now with the new freeway, so.
I don't know. They're usually an empty building, usually for the WAC. The Grand Canyon folks do travel. I know
that's what I'm asking. If they're going to be there,
they'll travel. I think Utah Valley fans will probably travel as well. I mean, you got number 1 seed. You got a real chance to get to the NCAA tournament. All right, MAC 2As coming up next. The Metro Athletic Conference. It's 2 games today. We'll hit those first and then look at the bracket. 8-9 first. This is in Boardwalk Hall in Atlantic City. Siena and Ryder. Siena's 4 as the 9 seed in this game against the Bronx at Ryder at 136.5, Kenny, on this total. I'd actually kind of look at the favorite, but again, 8-9 team in this league. We're not dealing with the best of teams here in this matchup.
No, not at all. I think they're two pretty equally matched teams. Both finished 9-11 in the conference. So I took 4 with Ryder here. They were on a 3-game winning streak. They've won 5 of their last 8. Siena's 3-5. But again, those don't mean anything to me. They're just kind of talking points because it really doesn't matter. I just think it's going to be a tight game. Siena could win this, but if they do, I hope it's only by 2 or 3.
I was looking at Ryder as well. I did make this game a pick between these two. Ryder did win the regular season game at home, 61-59. So I can't blame you for taking 4 there. I would expect another close game like that. I also kind of like the over. And if you look at Siena, 20-10 to the over on the year, but didn't get there with either of those bets, but lean to the dog and the over.
And then the second game is a battle of Connecticut, Sacred Heart and Fairfield. Sacred Heart, a 5-point favorite in this one against the Stags with a total of 145.5, Alex.
This one I did bet the over here, over 143.5. Oh, we're at 145.5. I still like it there. We're going to have the pace there. Sacred Heart, 50th fastest in the country. I wonder if they made your list there that you're going to give the top 6 there. But and they're really good on offense, Sacred Heart is, and not a very good defensive team. So I think we're going to get there with the points. I've got this closer to 154.
Yeah, I played Fairfield. I took 4.5 with them. Jeff mentioned, battle of two teams from the same state. Not a very big state. These teams aren't far away. They are rivals. And Fairfield lost both games this year. So the revenge factor, they're pretty equal teams. Sacred Heart's a little better basketball team, but I agree with you, Alex. I did bet the game over also. I did go over 143.5 last night. If I never saw a number and I didn't make a bet on this game and I saw 145.5, I'd bet it over that too, because I made it 155.5. I like the tempo in the game. Neither team plays defense, so I think it'll be a really good high-scoring game. Both games in the regular season went over this number. Barely, though. 145 one game, 148 the other game.
The bracket itself, you see it there. Quinnipiac, another Connecticut school, the 1 seed in this tournament. Them and Merrimack, first year in the league for the Warriors, of course, coming over from the NEC. They are the co-favorites in this league at plus 280. Manhattan, the 5 seed, is 5-1. They're the third favorite, and then Iona at 8-1, and then Marist, that 3 seed, at 10-1. The only non-chalk angle would be Manhattan, who is clearly the best offense in this league. Ken Palm right now has them as the 139th offense in the country. Sacred Heart is the only other top 200 offense in the country in this league. But Quinnipiac, Merrimack, the 2 best defenses by margin. But I would look to Merrimack here. They have the better defense, and I also have the easier path to make the final again. I think that's part of the reason that you look at a lot of these. So I think plus 280 on Merrimack's not a terrible bet here, Alex.
Did you say Iona 8-1?
Yes. This is all numbers via the Superbook, by the way.
I like that one as well. They lost twice. They'd have the double revenge if they run into Quinnipiac there, and they played them really close. 63-62 and then 79-74. So could get their revenge there. I think they are a top 4 team in this league, sitting there with the 4 seed.
Yeah, that's it's playing in Atlantic City, New Jersey, so no real home advantage for any of these teams. Maybe Manhattan, Iona are the closest, a couple hour drive, but none of these teams have huge followings, so you don't have to worry about that. Merrimack, I have the top team in the conference by 2.5, but you're right. See, Iona's right there. And at 8-1, maybe that is the best team. Tobin Anderson has done a nice job with this team this year. I like Merrimack just because Joe Gallo, not the powerful left-handed hitting baseball player from Bishop Gorman, who played in the big leagues, but Joe Gallo, the head coach of Merrimack, has done a really good job. I think he's a very, very good basketball coach, and that might be the difference in this tournament, that his coaching and the talent-wise, that they do win the conference championship.
Yeah, I'm with you on the Merrimack side. And again, this is another one. There are usually not a lot of people in attendance for these games in Atlantic City. It's usually a couple thousand at most, and that might be pushing it. There might be dozens tonight for those 2 games. All right, to the CUSA next. 2 games in Conference USA tonight. 8-9 game, UTEP and Sam Houston State up first. The winner of this one will get Liberty tomorrow here. We can go to the bracket first, actually. Liberty, of course, the 1 seed in this tournament yet again, plus 120 over at the Superbook to win it. 6-1 on Middle Tennessee, who is the 3 seed. Jacksonville State and La Tech and New Mexico State all at 8-1. Kennesaw at 12-1. Western Kentucky at 18-1. it's weird. This kind of feels like this could be a wide open field, but when I went through the whole thing, I just have a hard time seeing Liberty unless if their offense fails them, which could happen. But if their offense at least holds up, this is Liberty's tournament to lose, Alex.
I mean, really, 3.5 point difference from the 1 through 4 seed. So it really could be wide open. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, no, I think it is wide open. And I'm just looking at these teams and looking at the coaches. Ray Harper's the one that jumps out to me at Jacksonville State. He's a really good basketball coach, and his teams have always been very competitive. And then looking at the bracket, they play a play-in game, which may not be the greatest thing because, playing a game I think is a benefit. But they could beat Middle Tennessee or Louisiana Tech and end up in the finals against Liberty. So I may look to take a price on Jacksonville State.
Jacksonville State, again, there's been quite the story moving up again. Of course, won this league in football as well, going for the daily double going into the year. Going to these games here today, though, let's start with Sam Houston State and UTEP, which is your 8-9 battle here for this one. 2.5 point favorites UTEP in this game, Alex, with a total of 146.
Couldn't do anything here in this one. I think those numbers came just right. They split in the regular season. UTEP won at home 81-72. Sam Houston also on their own home court 89-87. And I think that total came right at 146. So pass for me in this first game here.
Well, you got me interested now. UTEP 2.5. Money's coming in on them. Not sure why. I have really no idea who would bet them. They've lost 7 in a row. But again, throw all that out. It really doesn't matter. They haven't lost 7 in a row. They're 0-0. So, but I made Sam Houston 1.5, and you want to give me 2.5 when I think you got the wrong favorite. I'm going to bet it. But again, Jeff, I always talk about money management, and I'm only betting 1% of my bankroll in these plays. So again, if I had $1,000 to bet and I came to Vegas today with $1,000, I would be betting $10 on this game. Just so you know that I don't want you to overbet any of these games unless I say, yeah, this is a really good game. Then you bet $20.
This is, I'm with you, Kenny. I think the wrong team is favored here. Honestly, this might be a good one. Just take the plus 125, and you know what? If UTEP beats you, UTEP beats you. Losers of 7 in a row, like you said. And then Western Kentucky, who to me was a big underachiever in this league. I thought that they had a chance going into this conference field of a legitimate chance to be at the top. They beat Liberty right out of the gate. They end up 8-10. They play FIU, who is by margin the worst team in this league. 5 and a total of 142.5 here, Alex.
I think that Western Kentucky is the right side here. You're getting the better defense. They do struggle offensively, especially from just 2-point range there, but they are very good defensively, and I think that they can lock down FIU here in this one. I did not lay the 5. Maybe find a money line dance partner for Western Kentucky just to win outright. Okay,
pen and paper. These are the slowest team. These teams have changed their tempo and the way they play since the beginning of January. Number 1 is North Carolina A&T. They're no longer in, but they were a great under team. They had their 2 best players suspended back in January, and since that time, they went from up-tempo to slow down. So if you knew that, you cashed a lot of unders with that team. North Carolina, the Tar Heels, have slowed their pace down over the last 2 months, so I'm going to look to bet under with Duke and North Carolina. Indiana, Clemson, Richmond, let you write those down. Indiana, Clemson, Richmond, Vanderbilt, Rutgers, UAB, the Fighting Gottliebs, Green Bay.
I don't have to worry about them anymore.
They're out already. They might be playing in the D2 tournament. Cal Davis, and then I added the last one because they were tied, Wichita State. Now, those were the top 11 slowdown teams. Number 13 was Houston. And we know how slow Houston plays already in the defense they play. Kelvin Sampson is getting tournament ready. He has slowed down the pace. He's getting ready for half-court basketball, and he's ready to, be a python and strangle all of the air out of you and kill you. And that they're amazing that they're even slowing down now. But number 27 on my list is Western Kentucky. That is why I'm talking about this list of games, because you need to know tempo. If you just look at KenPom and you go, Western Kentucky plays extremely fast. And if you looked at my sheet, you'd go, man, they play extremely fast. I have them the sixth fastest team in the country. 7 of their last 8 games, they've had less than 70 possessions in their games, and it's because they're starting to play slower. Well, why? How about the other team? Florida International is 114th on my list. They're playing 7 seconds slower. Doesn't sound like much, but when you're talking 70 possessions a game, 7 seconds slower, it's 3 to 4 possessions per game. So I think I've got 2 teams here that everyone thinks is running. I'm going to play it under. I think they're going to run a little bit. They still will play a little up tempo, but they run through their offenses more. If you go back and look at Western Kentucky to begin the year, the paces for their games were 78, 81, 79, 78, 78, 84, 82. And then you look recently, 68, 67, 68. So you have to take the recent numbers, not the entire season numbers. And these 2 teams are playing much slower. Both teams are playing much slower than they were playing earlier in the season. So I bet it under 143.5 this morning.
Under on this game here for Kenny. All right, let's go to the CAA final. The magical ride of the Delaware Blue Hens. Yes, as we all expected going into this tournament. Delaware, the 12 seed in this tournament, going into the CAA tournament in D.C. this week. The Blue Hens had 1 win since January 18th. One win.
Is that good?
No, it's not. They've quadrupled that since then. They've won 4 in a row and have gotten to the title game. And the funny one is the closest game they played was against the worst team they played. They barely scraped by Stony Brook. And then they've won all their next 3 games by double digits. They blasted Campbell. They blasted William and Mary in the second half. They beat the 1 seed Towson by 10 points and put 82 on them. A Towson team that doesn't give up points either. And Delaware magically in this final, and they get Wilmington, who was my pick before this tournament to win this tournament. Thought they were the best team all year long. They struggled in the second half, nearly gave that game away to Charleston last night, but found a way to hold on. And here you go. Seahawks of UNC Wilmington, 8.5-point favorites. Wilmington's going to win this game. The Magic Carpet Ride's going to end here tonight. But I'm not interested in laying 8.5. Just a matter of, though, this is game 5 in 5 days for Delaware. How much can they possibly have left in the tank here? Now playing, again, I know they beat the 1 seed, but they're playing the best team in the league here tonight. And a team that is much better offensively than Towson it was in this regular season, Alex.
That is the question, too. How much do they still have left in the tank? And I tried to make a case for them yesterday. I said they put 100 on William and Mary. This is a team that is shooting very well. They're playing with a lot of confidence. But now I am concerned. And they play at a very fast pace. They've been running a lot. So are they tired by this point? There is revenge factor. Wilmington won both games this year. So if you add that 2.5, we're pretty much right there at the number. Want to make a case for the dog to hang around in this one, but with a team like NC Wilmington, they can really outshoot them in this one.
Yeah, again, I've been talking a lot about throw the records out. Jeff mentioned 1 win, 1-11 their last 12 games, and here they are winning 4 straight. It doesn't matter how you finish. It doesn't, not whatsoever, because these teams have already pointed to. Delaware said in January, well, we got the conference tournament to look forward to, and once they got here, they've played. Now, 5 games in 5 days is rough, but there's been no airplane rides. It's a basketball game. They get in the van, they get treatment, they go to the hotel, and they relax. They watch a basketball game. They maybe stayed at the arena, but it's not that bad. Basketball players play every day. You see them in the summertime. They play 12 games a day at the athletic club, and they're all playing out there and going back and forth. So what could happen, though, in this spot? Fatigue can set in. And it will be more mentally than physically because Delaware has made this run. I'm going to look for if Wilmington gets a lead late and starts to get some momentum, Delaware will just fold. They will fold because they're not physically strong enough or talented enough to play with Wilmington. They will be early because they have so much hope. They will keep this close early for the first 10 minutes, 12 minutes, and then at one point, you're going to see Wilmington start to pull away. And when they start to pull away, they're going to look like Secretariat in the Belmont. Do you remember that?
Neither of us do, but we've seen the movie at least. But I don't know. I mean, it just I kind of with you, Kenny. I think this is one of those where if you want to take Delaware first half, you can.
Yeah.
But push comes to shove. This is Wilmington's game. A team that will be a tough out in the tournament, assuming they handle their business here tonight in Washington, D.C. All right, we go to Indianapolis next, the final of the Horizon League. Two very tight games last night at the Farmers Coliseum. Robert Morris needed overtime to beat the defending champions of this league, Oakland, of course, a very different-looking Golden Grizzlies team. And then Youngstown State beats Cleveland State, in part thanks to a big 4-point play late in the game. So the Penguins and Robert Morris here in this one, I had Robert Morris as the 4th best team in this league, and Youngstown State as the 5th best team in this league coming into this tournament. So shows how much I knew going into this one. Robert Morris is 3.5 in this game with a total of 136. I can't really quibble with either of those numbers, guys, even though if this game's played at Youngstown pace, this game's going under. That's all I'll say. If this is Youngstown controls the tempo, this thing goes under for sure.
I lean to the favorite here with Robert Morris. I was a little concerned with the overtime game, but I really think they showed a lot in that one and getting that win. So I think they're the better team, both offensively and defensively. So I think 3.5 is a pretty good number, and I think they will cover that.
Yeah, I have Robert Morris the best team in the conference. They went 15-5. They won their last 9 games. They're 15-1. The last 16 games. Again, throw that out though. That's including the 3 wins in the conference tournament. The last time both these teams won on each other's home court. The last time they played though was at Youngstown. So I did give revenge factor. I made the game 2.5. So I really have no play on the side, but I'm with Jeff on the under. I think it's a championship game. Two teams that are playing well. The pace isn't going to be frantic. It's going to be a less than normal pace. There'll be 65, 66 possessions. But both of these teams are far better defensively than they are offensively. So, yeah, I bet it under. I went under 141.5. I don't know if I got the best of the number on that. Oh,
you sure did.
Wow.
You sure did. He got it by 4.5 points.
Wow,
so.
I didn't know it went that low. I would not go under 136. Do not do that.
Going next, let's go to the Big Sky. Northern Colorado and Montana State. That was a nice, easy plus price winner on Montana State yesterday as the 5 seed. Thought that was a good old case of, I wasn't on the show yesterday, obviously, but that was a good old case of wrong team favored, and boy, was that happen to be the case. Northern Colorado has been the best team in this league for basically the whole year. Is a 5.5 point favorite right now with a total of 145.5 in this one, Alex.
Give Montana State a little bit of revenge there, and you kind of make a case for the dog and taking those points. I think that Northern Colorado should be about a 5-point favorite, which brings us down to 2.5. So now we've got a 3-point difference there. Making a case for that. I mean, they do have the better defense, so I would lean that way with Montana State getting 5.5.
This is the best team in the conference, Northern Colorado, and this is a really good basketball coach, Steve Smiley. He knows talent. Remember Dalton Connect, who he was, plays for the Lakers, starts as a rookie. He spent 4 years at Northern Colorado before he went to Tennessee, and Steve Smiley, I was believed, is the guy that recruited him and found him. They're the best team, but I do have to use that revenge factor, and by using the revenge factor, I only have the game 2.5. So I do lean to Montana State here. I hope they can keep it close. I haven't bet it yet, but if you can give me 5.5, I'll take it. I made my total a little bit higher. I had it 151 after making an adjustment because Northern Colorado's pace, and they're a very, very solid offensive team. So if I don't get one of the bets and Northern Colorado has a big night, at least I can cash the over. But again, 2 small bets. They're both 1% bets from me.
Northern Colorado, very efficient offensively speaking, 7th in the country in effective field goal percentage. The one thing, though, in this matchup that Montana State does do very well, they are 10th in the country defending the 3-point shot. So that is a good way to have a potential upset here, but I expect Northern Colorado to win and advance to the title game where they'll play the winner of Montana and Idaho. Idaho really put it on Portland State yesterday in an upset. Montana struggled for a half, ended up winning and covering against the Jacks of Northern Arizona. 6.5 in this game with a total of 147, Kenny.
Yeah, revenge factor for me. Idaho lost both games during the regular season, and they finished decent down the stretch. 4-4 for them is a good little finish. So they're playing in Boise, Idaho. The Vandals from Moscow, Idaho, not Moscow, Russia, because they're 5.5-hour drive from Moscow, Idaho, but 3 days from Moscow, Russia. So, but they're a little bit closer. I took the 6.5 with Idaho. We played in the home state. They're gonna have a lot of fans there, and losing both games, that revenge factor helped me get on that side. So, yeah, I bet Idaho.
I'm going Montana money line here, minus 280. I wrote down Robert Morris money line minus 180. Now I've got Montana minus 280. Those might be my two that I tie up together. There was one more that you had said that I liked as well. But I watched that game against NAU, and they were by far the better team, and I questioned why I was on Northern Arizona in that game. I think it's going to be the same case here for Idaho. They're the worst defense in the conference, so even though they have been on a good run here, I think they're going up against a good Montana State. And Montana struggled a little bit. It kind of took them a while to wake up, but I think they'll be ready for this game here.
Go Zags.
We'll get there right now. Let's go. Go Zags for Kenny White. Gonzaga St. Mary's, the annual showdown at Orleans Arena in Las Vegas for the championship of the WCC. Neither team covered yesterday. Boy, if you had St. Mary's yesterday, you're really not happy with how that game ended. To get Pepperdine in the back door. And boy, it was a ridiculous one to get him in the back door. But here you go up to 3.5 now with Gonzaga as the 2 seed against St. Mary's, 138.5. This is, all I'll tell you is if you like St. Mary's, wait. If you like them, wait. This number will get higher. This will touch 4. It may touch 4.5, and it could even touch 5 by the time this game goes. Because people love betting Gonzaga in this game. Spread, money line, every which way. So if you like St. Mary's plus the points, I would wait until the last possible moment. With that said, I like Gonzaga to win the game outright here. They're probably going into a money line parlay tonight. But, boy, if this number gets to 4.5, it's going to be hard to not try to middle that thing, at least pre-flop for me.
I'm going to have to do the money line parlay with Gonzaga and Duke as well and jump in there. But I love the double revenge. St. Mary's won both regular season games, and they are the better defense. They like to play that really slow down pace, and they can really suffocate teams just like Houston. They're kind of like a light Houston here. But I love the revenge. Gonzaga is the better offense, and both teams started slow yesterday. I think looking ahead, ready for this one, and I definitely think the Zags will be ready.
Well, Jeff, you're going to have a fun time watching this game tonight. It's going to be a great game.
Oh, yes.
Big rivals. They don't like each other. I'm waiting to hear from you tomorrow on how the crowd was.
They'll be pro Gonzaga.
Every time I've been there, it's 97% Gonzaga fans. So I'm on the Zags. I gave them home court because those fans are going to dictate play. But more than anything, the 2 losses, I have Gonzaga the 6th best team in college basketball right now. I think they could get to the Final Four. I know you didn't like them, but this is a very talented team. They have one of the best players in the country, and they're good. They can do it. They've got the pedigree. I think that this will be a game that you're going to see their best effort from. And we talked about this yesterday about them playing San Francisco and blowing out San Francisco the last game of the year in San Francisco, that maybe they wouldn't have the type of effort against the Dons, knowing they had the Gales on deck, and that was the case in point. So, again, when you're adjusting your power ratings, I did not adjust my power rating on Gonzaga last night because they didn't cover. I didn't think you'd get their best effort. Tonight, you're going to get St. Mary's' best effort too, but you're going to get the Zags A+ game tonight.
I'm very curious to see how Gonzaga looks. Again, just even watching them last night, you watch them like this team is so loaded with talent.
Yeah,
just something's missing. It's almost intangible of what's missing with them. But hey, if they end up on the 8-9 line, I'm not going to be happy if I'm the 1 seed that draws them in the round of 32. With Gonzaga going for the record for most consecutive Sweet 16s if they were to get there yet again this year. All right, let's go to the SWAC. We now made it to the extra board here. SWAC is underway here, and this is, again, historically always one of the weaker leagues in America. We begin tonight with the 8-9 game Grambling, Alex, is a 4.5-point favorite against Alabama A&M in this one here tonight in the first round of the SWAC tournament.
I think that number is right here with Grambling State being the favorite. They are better statistically, even though they still aren't very good, but they're much better defensively. Alabama A&M, they're the third worst offense in the conference and fifth worst defense, and play at a very fast pace. I think Grambling State will be able to control the pace and ultimately come out as the winner in this game. 4.5. I think that is the right number. They did win both games. If we're going to give Alabama A&M some revenge there, so I stayed off of this one, but I lean to the favorite, at least money line here.
Yeah, I like the dog. This game being played in Georgia. I had it on my sheet at a home game, but it's not. So there's not much home for Grambling State anyway. That one of the lower home values. I had 1.5 points, but I have to use revenge factor. These two games were kind of later in the season too that they beat A&M. So yeah, I'll take A&M I think it's going to be a very low scoring game. So I do like under as well. Both these teams horrific offensively. They just cannot shoot the basketball. So I think it'll be close and I think it'll be low scoring.
The second game today is FAMU and Prairie View. I don't know how Prairie View even made the conference tournament, but they got there. Florida A&M, Alex, 7 with a total of 145 in this 7 versus 10 matchup.
Yeah, Prairie View's second worst offense in the conference, third worst defense. I think that Florida A&M can cover this 7 points here. And it might be late at the end there, but they are the second best offense in this conference and the far better team. If you look at Prairie View, they really have struggled offensively. 12-9 to the under, road or neutral. 16-12 to the under on the season. So I think you're okay here with the favorite. I know you're trying to make a case for all the dogs, but this one's a tough one.
I don't have anything for it. My numbers are pretty much right on in this game. I lean a little bit to the over. It does scare me because, again, when you're talking about SWAC teams, they're just not very good offensively. They don't shoot the ball well, but in these type of scenarios, they're not good. They're not good defensively either, but the trends do favor both teams to the under on the road. Prairie View 12-9 under, Florida A&M 10-6 under in their away games.
This is the weakest league in America. Usually is one of the bottom leagues. It is the weakest this year. Southern, you're betting favorite to win the conference tournament at plus 190. Jackson State at plus 225. Bethune-Cookman and Texas Southern are both 8-1. If you want to make an argument for Bethune-Cookman, all right, maybe, but I have Jackson State, the 2 seed. The Tigers winning this league at plus 225 would be the play I'd look at here.
I think that is the best play on the board. I actually think they are the best team in this conference.
I'm good. I didn't look at it. It's the SWAC. Anything can happen in this conference. These teams are so bad.
Yeah, not a quality league, to say the least. America East semis, 2 games here. Maine and Vermont, the first one, the 3 versus the 2. This league actually had chalk in round 1, even though Albany did their best to blow it against Binghamton. But at least Maine and Vermont, that first game here tonight on the bottom of the bracket, Vermont is 5 against the Black Bears. I'm going to stay out of this. Vermont's battered with injuries. They really struggled to beat New Hampshire in round 1. Normal circumstances, this is a Vermont-dominated league, but I'm staying off here. I think everything's good here, especially, look at a total 123. Super, super low here, Alex.
I'm glad that you told me that because now I definitely want to take the points here with Maine. This is going to be a extra trivia question for JR. We'll see if he can get it, and I think you're going to like this. What is Vermont's record over Maine in the last 30 games? And I'll give him a second.
You got to get the entire record. What is it, 29-1?
That was going to be my guess, Alex.
It's worse than that.
It's 30-0.
30-0.
Oh boy!
This is who has won 30 games?
So
Vermont's won 30 in a row against Maine.
Yep. So let's take the 5. Maine. Is that worth revenge there, Jeff?
give me Maine plus the points. I'll
especially if Jeff said there's injuries.
I didn't bet this game. These are just such bad games. But I looking at this game, I think it's an under game as well. Vermont plays at extremely slow pace. Both teams are pretty good defensively. They're both better than average college basketball teams on the defensive end. So I I think it's a lower scoring game. Obviously, the total says it's going to be a lower scoring game, but I think it's lower than that.
Oh, boy.
So points at a premium. This is I hope it's 58-57 final.
That'd be a good under. It'd be a good one for sure. The second game, Bryant, the 1 seed, takes on Albany. We're up to 11 now on this game. And again, Bryant has been the best team all year long in this league. Not surprising here that they are double digits at home with a chance to advance to the final in their own building on Saturday morning.
I think this is getting a little bit too high, though, so might be an opportunity to jump here. I mean, if it gets to 12, I'll take it with Albany. They already beat them once this year, 68-63 in Rhode Island, so we know that they can hang around with this Bryant team, even though they are the best team. I made it 9, so it's close, but, I mean, if you're getting a 3-point difference, I think that might be worth a look.
2 teams that play up tempo. I was leaning to an overplay, but that will lead me. I left out my list of the 6 teams playing faster now than they were in January. Not big name teams. Oakland, and that was always a guy that played fast. Greg Camp. He's in his 40th year. I don't even know if he won yesterday, but he has played extremely slow. They're done?
They're done.
Too bad.
Yeah.
That's too bad. They are playing more up tempo, and that makes sense to me. Fullerton State, they're probably out. Austin Peay, they may be out. Abilene Christian, they may be out. Western Illinois and Holy Cross. Those are the 6 teams that are playing over a second faster per possession, and that's like 6-7 possessions per game, higher now than they were in January, and those are bad teams. So it makes sense the better teams can play in the half court, slow down, and play defense a la Houston. Maybe the surprise team this year, and the Cougars finally win the national championship over Duke, 66-64 final. You heard it here.
Well, let's get them on the other side of the bracket first before we do that.
Yeah, true.
We got a few more here today, and then we'll start looking at some stuff for tomorrow and some hockey as well. Northwestern State, McNeese. McNeese was over $5 to win this league, the Southland Conference, and correctly so. They are significantly better than everybody else. Right now, Alex, 16.5 on this one with McNeese at total 131.5.
So McNeese did win both in the regular season, and I mean, one of them, Northwestern State, kept it close, 65-50, but the other one, 92-69. I'm leaning more towards that one. I'm not going to touch this game. I'm not comfortable enough grabbing the points here with Northwestern State. McNeese is in the top 100, both offense and defense. Yeah. So they are a very good basketball team, and 19-1 on the season. So
Central America book opened this game 13.5, and a well-respected one that puts up good opening numbers. I only made it 12.5. It is a home game, but the revenge factor, puts me on Northwestern State. They actually did have a winning conference record. I know McNeese dominated. They dominated. They're the best team on both ends of the court. And I love this team from last year. Will Wade, former VCU coach, has played a pressured defense. He's taught defense. He is a good coach. He's a good teacher, and he's got a really good basketball team. But do they have to win by this many? I don't know. These are my worst type of bets, though. I'd rather have a competitive game. So
I'll give you a competitive game. Lamar and Nichols are a pick'em. I'll give you that. The 1, the 2, and the 3. That's 1 here. There's a lot of pick in the market. I actually like Lamar a little bit in this game. These teams are pretty darn even, but find the pick. I would take Lamar over Nichols in this one, Alex.
It's tough. I do think this game should be pick 'em. Leaning to Nichols State getting a point here, which that doesn't really help much, but they do have a revenge factor. Lost both games to Lamar. It's tough to beat the same team 3 times. But Lamar is the better defense, slower pace. Those are usually the teams I like to back, opposed to Nichols State, who is the better offense. This
total was really bet down. It was 143 last night.
Oof.
Really bet down. I made it 143. Actually, I'm adjusting 5 points down because I want to bet under. So I made it 138. It's right around the number that I made it. And it's a pick 'em type of game. Lamar did win both games during the regular season, though. Nichols State had a good year. If I could get 2 or 2, and I'm probably like 2.5 with Nichols State, but I don't think I'll get that.
And then the last one today, the NEC final, Central Connecticut State, who has been by margin the best team in that league all year, gets a home game against St. Francis of Pennsylvania, where St. Francis has won both of these games so far in this conference tournament late. One by 3 against Wagner, 1 by 3 against LIU. Now they go on the road to Central Connecticut. It's 11. It's 134.5. I don't love laying big numbers in conference tournaments, but after that overtime win against FDU for Central Connecticut, I think the focus is fully there. I think they run them out of the building, Alex. I'm okay with laying a big number here.
I would only look at the favorite here in this one. Top 100 defense, 14-2 to finish their conference play this year. Central Connecticut is by far the better team. Now, they did win both. You can add in some revenge factor for St. Francis, but still not a big enough difference here at the double-digit spread.
Yeah, this is when you're looking, home court. That's big. I think playing on your own home court. If it was a neutral, I would say, yeah, I'm probably going to make a small bet on St. Francis. But I did bet the game under because I think it's going to be an extremely slow pace both sides, and I do like Central Connecticut's defense. They're a very good defensive basketball team. So I went under here 134.5, and that's what it is right now. So you can get the same number I got last night.
Real quick for tomorrow, there's 3 leagues that get underway before our show even begins tomorrow. The A10, Virginia Commonwealth, of course, the betting favorite, the number 1 seed, plus 105 to win the conference tournament. George Mason, the 2, is at 7-1 with St. Joe's, the 6. And then you have Dayton at plus 425, who just beat VCU. Tomorrow, that Richmond-Davidson game gets going. Again, that'll probably be a pretty ugly one. Richmond, not a particularly good team as we've talked about. But this league, it feels like it's VCU to lose. Not shocking. I would consider taking a shot on St. Joe's at 7-1. Their analytics actually play out pretty well. I think they match up pretty well with Dayton. Curious, they should have beat George Mason in Fairfax during the regular season. They blew a 15-point lead in that game. But I don't mind taking St. Joe's, but you're probably better off just rolling it over with the Hawks than taking that 7-1 pre-tournament, Alex.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I do think St. Joe's is the second best team in this conference. But do you have as big of a difference here with VCU to St. Joe's as you do with Duke and then Clemson?
Let me check real quick. I was just about to pull that up, and I have it now. VCU, 6.5 point difference. VCU over Dayton. So, much better basketball team. I do like that early game tomorrow, though. As you mentioned, Richmond has not had a good year, but Chris Mooney's a good head coach. And again, I would throw out the regular season. Davidson hasn't had a good year either, but they did beat Richmond twice. So with that revenge factor, I do like the Spiders here. Where's this game being played?
Washington, D.C. Yep.
Yeah, no real home edge in it. But I think there's a coaching edge. Matt McKillop's still a young head coach, 3 years. His dad was a great coach at Davidson, and he got the job mainly because his dad was there. So I still don't know if he's a good basketball coach or not. But I know Chris Mooney is, and he's had a bad year, but teams that have bad years can turn it around in the conference tournament. And you're giving me 6.5. This will not be 6.5 tomorrow. When we're talking about it, you'll say this game closed 5.
I like the Spiders. I would jump in here with the points here. Very good free throw shooting team. Very good on the defensive side with the board. So I think they could hang around in this one against Davidson.
We'll see what the numbers come tomorrow. Again, none of these, on the surface, I don't think any of these 3 A10 games tomorrow will be a bet, but we have to see when the numbers come before we do anything on that. American Athletic, Rice and Charlotte goes tomorrow morning. Charlotte's the worst team in that league. Rice has had their struggles. Memphis, you're betting favorite in the American at plus 110. North Texas at plus 220. UAB at 7-1, FAU at 12-1, and that is pretty much all you can look at least from my end of things. I actually like North Texas to win this league. I wish I was getting a little bit of a better price than plus 220. But that defense first thing is a pain in the butt to play in conference tournament settings. And Memphis doesn't have to win this league in order to make the conference tournament. Everybody else, or make the NCAA tournament. Everybody else does. So North Texas, UAB, I don't mind taking shots on those two teams, Alex.
I like North Texas. I like that slow down pace and that good defense. What'd you say their odds were?
220. We wish I was getting a little bit more on North Texas.
Yeah, I agree with you. I would look to North Texas as well. Jeff, you bring up a great point about, teams that already know they're in the big dance. I think the tournament's even being played at North Texas's arena.
Dickies Arena in Fort Worth, I believe.
Is it Fort Worth?
Yeah, I
Okay,
believe
so
so.
It's very close.
it's very close. It's about an hour away. So
45 minutes.
got to give them a little bit of a home court advantage. But yeah, I would like to have a little bit higher price than that. I think it's more maybe of a rollover parlay, because in the championship game against Memphis, you might be able to get plus $2.
I am mistaken. You are right. It is actually at the Super Pit this year, which is a change. So, yeah, a little bit of an advantage for North Texas there.
No travel for them. That's a good advantage to have.
All right, moving to the SEC. Again, the SEC loaded. South Carolina and Arkansas will go up first tomorrow. I'm fascinated to see where that number comes, because I like Arkansas to make a little bit of a push in this tournament, but they may come up too big of a favorite tomorrow against South Carolina. Auburn, of course, the number 1 seed. Probably the number 1 overall seed in the NCAA tournament, plus 160. Florida's at 3-1. Bama at plus 450. Tennessee at 5-1. Everybody else is 25-1 or longer. I think I can make a case for Kentucky at 30-1, but the problem with that would be you're probably going to get Kentucky on the rollover. You're going to get them as pushing double digits in at least the Auburn game and maybe even the next 2 games as well. So look for a rollover on Kentucky. They're playing much better even when they lost to Auburn. But I do think the champion comes from the bottom of that bracket. If Bama beats Kentucky, I like Alabama to beat Florida in a revenge spot. And then I don't know who they're going to play in the final, but I like Alabama as a dog against Auburn or a slight favorite against Tennessee, Alex. So I have Bama. Took 5-1 last night on them actually to win this league. Bama.
Okay, I like it. Man, I'll just go game by game for this.
No problem with that
either. It's so competitive.
I like Jeff's angle with Kentucky. Big Blue travels.
Oh, yeah.
It'll all be blue. Most of those games, obviously in Nashville, Tennessee will have a huge following as well. Game 1, South Carolina at Arkansas. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago where Arkansas got blown out and embarrassed by South Carolina. They responded by beating Vandy on the road, Mississippi State at home. Now they have that payback of getting embarrassed. So I laid the 1.5 with Arkansas tomorrow. The 10 a.m. game will just be coming on the air at that time. So we'll see what the number is then, but I'm betting Arkansas now.
Curious to see what it is when we get there tomorrow. All right, let's go ahead, Alex.
Is that offshore?
What's that?
Or did you find?
Yeah, no. It's bet online.
1.5. Okay.
That seems very short.
Instead of betting in there, betting at the place.
Yeah, I know South Carolina. South Carolina whipped Arkansas when they played each other a few days ago.
72-53.
Yeah, about 2 weeks ago. But boy, seems short on Arkansas, to say the least. All right, we'll take a quick break. We got some hockey. We got whiteboards. We got the JR Invitational. We got more to come when we get back. Sports by the Book right here at the South Point Studio.
We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day. Plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south of the border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside. Or maybe you're in the mood for seafood. Big Sur Oyster Bar has fresh seafood prepared right before your eyes. Savor freshly shucked oysters, crab legs jambalaya, shrimp and lobster. Beers on tap and a selection of fine wines are perfect to pair with your seafood favorite. Whether lunch or dinner, you'll love this fun atmosphere, located just off the casino floor. Ready to shake things up? Step back in time and treat yourself to one of the oldest restaurant chains in the country. Steak and Shake, famous for original mouth-watering steak burgers and hand-dipped milkshakes in a variety of flavors. For some old-fashioned fun, try Steak and Shake.
Welcome back in Sports by the Book, South Point Studio. Jeff Parles, Alex White, Kenny White. Alex, we got some hockey to go to here before we head out of here today. By the way, JR winning already on Vermont here tonight, so bet that last night. But let's get to some hockey here on a Tuesday afternoon and Tuesday day across the slate. And we start in Carolina with this one, the Hurricanes taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning in this one. Canes, $1.35 behind us here at the South Point, plus 115 on the Lightning. 5.5 your total on this game.
Double down on this game because I like the side and I like the total here. I like the total. That is my best bet in this game, though, over 5.5 between these two. Carolina plays so much better at home. They're 25-7-1. And their median numbers show it, averaging 4 goals, median number, 4 goals per game and 3 goals against. That's why I really like this over as well, because they have been giving up goals. They're 11th in goals for, 8th at goals against, and Tampa Bay is 2nd in goals for, averaging 3.54. So I definitely think we'll get over that 5.5. I also think this is a very cheap number on the Canes here. They've won 4 in a row. They're playing their best hockey. I made it 175, so I have a 40-cent difference here with Carolina. Tampa Bay, 14-14-2 on the road. So both of these teams better at home. And not to mention, Carolina's lost 2 to Tampa Bay already this year. So they'll be highly motivated to get this one against the Lightning.
Next up, second time in 5 days, the Knights will play Pittsburgh. Of course, VGK beat up on the Penguins earlier on Friday. Now VGK minus 90 on the road. Again, Penguins, it's just not the same Penguins anymore. Can't be treated as thus, and the market doesn't. Plus 170 and a total of 6 here.
No, and they really traded away a few guys at the deadline too. And that game 4-0 for VGK shut out the Penguins, but the Penguins have still been scoring as of late. They just beat the Wild pretty convincingly the other day, 3-0. So I think we'll get goals from both sides. VGK is really starting to turn it on. So I also like this one going over that 6. I made it 6.5. Both of their medians match it perfectly. Pittsburgh's median over under number is 6.5 as well. So going over 6 here. Worst case, I think we push. VGK 5th in goals for. They are 9th in goals against, so very good. But Pittsburgh 31st in goals against, giving up an average of 3.59. So over for me in this one as well.
Moving along to one last one in LA. Kings, of course, as we all expected, all those goals in the game at the Fortress on Sunday. Kings end up holding on for dear life and win that game. 5.5 the total with this one. Kings, $1.80 against the Islanders. Of course, a team that traded away a bunch of pieces as well at the deadline. And
you know what? That works out perfectly for me, Jeff. Hopefully they are out of scoring in this one because they really struggled to score before that game. But then the Kings scored 6 against VGK. I like under, even though it is 5.5. I made it 5 in this one. 2 really good goalies. We have Sorokin and Darcy Kemper going. So you can trust both of them. The Kings are 5th in goals against, giving up an average of 2.66. Islanders have struggled all year scoring, tied for 26, averaging 2.71. So I think that it's scary. I know nobody likes 5.5s, but I think we'll be just fine going under 5.5 in this one. Just the 3, 2 overs,
just
1
3,
under.
Just
hockey.
3 for right now. All right, the JR Invitational as we get the whiteboard set up right now. The question on the ticker today was John Wooden coached 10 of the 11 UCLA national titles. Who coached the other? Kenny, you know the answer to this one.
Steve Lavin?
Nope. Jim Herrick.
Oh, Jim
in
Herrick,
1995. Of course,
Steve Lavin.
That was the O'Bannon brothers. You had Tyus Edney, Coast to Coast. Now won that was their most recent title as well.
Yeah, Tyus Edney had that coast to coast drive to win.
Yeah,
to win an NC tournament game.
And that was of course against my alma mater in that one in Boise, Idaho that day. JR got it, so JR wins again. Nick made a little dent into JR's dominance. Same with Dean, but JR gets it done here in that one. All right, whiteboard time here on a Tuesday. I was going to say it was a Thursday, but we're not there yet. 5 days from Selection Sunday, and Alex White, you can go on first here today on a Tuesday.
Starting with college basketball, that is what made my board today. UCF and Utah over 156.5 or 157. I'm okay with that number as well. Cal, Virginia Tech, I like the under in this one. Under 140.5. Also lean to the Cal side. Fairfield and Sacred Heart over 145.5. Sacred Heart wants to play fast, much better offensively. Couple pizza money bets here. Colorado plus 140 against TCU. And then looking at a conference future here, Iona 8-1 in the Metro Atlantic. Again, my 3 hockey pizza money bets as well. Tampa Bay, Carolina over 5.5. VGK and the Penguins over 6. And Islanders and Kings under 5.5 for me today.
My 5-pack starting with Fairfield against Sacred Heart plus the 4.5. Idaho plus 6.5 against Montana. Vatech and Cal under the total, under 140.5. FIU and Western Kentucky under 143. And then, hey, go Zags. Let's go. Minus the 3.5. Bet it now. Like Jeff said, it's going to go up. And if you're at the Orleans, you're probably going to see 5.5 there.
That's my annual thing, Kenny. Bet it at Boyd, because Boyd runs the book over there at the Orleans, and go from there, to say the very least. All right. So we got for you. We're back tomorrow. More college hoops, championship week across college hoops. We're looking forward to it. We'll have plenty of bets to go to. Shout out to the crew, Ryan, Vince, Drew Dog, and Jerry on site here today. Alex, Kenny, good luck.
Yeah.
We'll see you all tomorrow.
Thanks, Jeff. You too. Good luck.
Good luck to everyone out there as well. Betting these across the board. We'll see you next time. Sports by the Book right here at the South Point Studio.